When a billionaire laughs, a poor boy exposes a hidden talent. A heartwarming, life-changing turn. In the small town of Maplewood, the air was thick with the irresistible scent of fried chicken and fresh-baked pies. Laughter and clinking dishes filled the cozy diner owned by Jason's parents, both veterans who had fought for their country and now fought tirelessly to keep their family afloat. 12-year-old Jason spent his afternoons serving coffee to the regulars, their chatter a comforting rhythm in a life that often felt chaotic. But deep down, he harbored a dream that painted his world with vibrant colors. He wanted to be an artist. On a fateful morning, that comforting rhythm was shattered. Mr. Rutherford, the town's billionaire with a reputation for ruthless business practices, strode into the diner like a tornado. As he laughed loudly with his equally wealthy friends, the townsfolk shifted uncomfortably. They revered Maplewood's charm. To Rutherford, it was a relic, a discarded toy from his childhood. Jason's heart tightened. He glanced at the paintings hanging on the diner's walls, classic pieces that lit up the room with their stories. Each brushstroke whispered secrets he yearned to express. The contrast couldn't be more glaring. Here stood a billionaire, mocking the very thing he held dear. His blood boiled. Did Mr. Rutherford even know the price of dignity? That evening, bolstered by a rush of courage, Jason crept into the diner's corner, transforming it into an unassuming gallery of his own. Under soft, dim lighting, he set up his dyed canvases, colorful and raw, the very emotions he felt embedded in every brushstroke. His heart raced when he heard the creak of the door. Could it be Mr. Rutherford again? The billionaire stepped inside, his laughter dying mid-sentence. For a moment, the world stood still. Eyes widened, he wandered over, curious. With each painting, his gaze softened, the laughter fading into wonder. The pieces moved him. Jason watched as Mr. Rutherford traced the colors with his fingertips, feeling the stories leap off the canvas. In that instance, the billionaire's laughter transformed into something deeper and understanding, but whispers soon fanned out through Maplewood. The townsfolk were skeptical. Could a boy with little means truly create such meaningful art? Questions danced on their tongues, battling with pride and fear. Jason's spirit wavered. The urge to lift his family from desperation clashed with his desire to remain true to his roots. Moments later, it boiled over. Jason faced Mr. Rutherford, his voice trembling but his resolve steely. "You don't understand," he implored, "there's strength in the struggles of people like my parents. We fight every day, just like you did once." The room's air thickened, the weight of Jason's words hanging like a heavy mist. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Silence enveloped the room, tension brimming as Jason's father, emotional and proud, stepped closer. "Stay grounded, son," he whispered, his eyes glistening. As he reached out, the door swung open, and the clamor of townsfolk rushed in, curiosity sparking in their eyes. Jason's heart raced. Would they embrace him or tear him down? With the fate of his dreams hanging in the balance, all eyes turned to him, waiting for a spark of magic or perhaps another heart-wrenching revelation. The murmurs grew louder, a tide of whispers surging through the diner. Faces once friendly now held uncertainty and skepticism. Jason's heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of everything that rested on this moment. He took a deep breath and locked eyes with Mr. Rutherford, searching for a flicker of affirmation, a glimmer that would signal his dreams were not hopelessly naive, but the billionaire's expression remained inscrutable. The laughter that had once fallen from his lips now felt like a ghost, lingering in the air, heavy with doubt. The crowd's scrutiny bore down on Jason, tightening around him like a vice. They were waiting. Waiting for the boy to prove himself or crumble under the strain of their expectations. The weight of his family's struggles rushed through him, the pain, the determination, and the hope. "It's not just paint on a canvas for me," Jason finally spoke, his voice steady despite the storm inside. These colors are my voice. They tell stories of hard work, of sacrifice, and love. He gestured to the canvases, hoping to draw them in. The diner fell silent again. It was as if time itself held its breath. Mr. Rutherford's eyes narrowed as he observed the raw emotion radiating from Jason. He took a step forward, finally breaking his silence. "Your art, it reflects a truth that many of us choose to ignore," he said slowly, almost thoughtfully. That caught the attention of the townsfolk. A buzz of conversation began to ripple through the crowd, some nodding, some scowling. There was something in Rutherford's tone that hinted at a shift, a change in the collective perception that had been tightly wound in the air like a spring ready to snap. Then a voice broke through the chatter, sweet, familiar, and unwavering. "That boy has talent." It was Mrs. Whitaker, the elderly lady who had always kept a close eye on Jason. "I've seen him painting from our window." Her determined gaze moved through the crowd, urging them to see what she saw. One by one, faces softened. Jason felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Could it be possible? Could these people who had watched him grow finally see him? But just then, a voice from the back called out, "What do you know about art, Mrs. Whitaker?" "He is just a child." Skepticism sprung back into the air, thick and sour. Jason's heart sunk again, but this time, he quickly squashed his despair. "But I've done my best," he shouted, fighting to be heard above the din. "And I want to share it. Please give me a chance." His youthful face burned with intensity, and he could no longer hold back the flood of emotions that surged within him. With that, he stepped back, silently pleading with the townsfolk, willing them to understand that art was more than mere colors. It was life woven together like the threads of their community, filled with the dreams and struggles that defined Maplewood. As tension thickened again, Mr. Rutherford remained contemplative, absorbed in thoughts more profound than anyone had anticipated. "Maybe it's time we all challenged our perceptions," he finally declared, his voice steady yet resonant. "But would the people rally behind this boy's dreams? Would they break the chains of doubt that bound them?" Just as Jason gathered his breath, ready to speak again, the diner door swung open wider, and a gust of wind brought a flurry of energy. Someone new had arrived, someone who might change everything. With his heart racing, Jason turned toward the entrance, anticipation bubbling in his chest. Who could it be, and how would they push the tides in Maplewood? The door creaked as it swung open, bringing with it the familiar scent of spring and the crisp bite of wind. Jason squinted into the sudden brightness, his heart thrumming with curiosity. He hoped this newcomer would be a friend, someone to support him in this whirlwind of emotions and expectations. A figure emerged, a tall woman dressed in a vibrant red coat, her dark hair glistening like polished mahogany. As she stepped inside, her confident stride commanded attention. The murmurs in the diner turned to whispers of fascination. Jason felt a jolt of energy, a mix of hope and fear coursing through him. Would this stranger be another source of skepticism or a beacon of light? "Excuse me, everyone," she called out, her voice ringing clear above the din. The crowd quieted, curiosity edging their expressions. "I'm Mia Stone, an art dealer from the city. I was passing through when I saw this beautiful diner and felt an urge to come in." Her gaze landed on Jason, and for a moment, he felt as if she was peering straight into his soul. "Art is not just about technique, it's about connection," Mia continued, her enthusiasm palpable. "I've had the privilege of seeing countless talented artists, and it seems to me we have one in our midst today." She gestured toward Jason, and the room shifted like the wind. His heart soared, yet the shadow of doubt lingered. Would they believe her? Or would they dismiss this as just another city outsider talking over their small-town boy? "Jason," Mia said, her eyes sparkling with authenticity, "may I see your work?" The request felt like an electric charge zapping through him. His initial hesitation melted as he approached the canvases with a newfound sense of purpose. As he unfolded his heart on those canvases, Jason spoke passionately about each piece, the inspiration behind the swirls of color, the emotions infused within the strokes. He painted a picture with his words just as he did with his brushes, igniting a fire in the hearts of the diners. Rutherford finally broke his silence, stepping forward beside Mia. "You see," he said, his voice firm. "Art holds the power to unite us, to challenge our beliefs and emotions. What Jason shares is not just his voice, it's ours as well." There was a ripple of acknowledgement through the crowd. Faces softened, eyes widened. It was as if scales were falling from them, revealing the potential for understanding and growth. Mia captured their attention with her words. "I've seen how stubborn small towns can be, holding on to old beliefs and doubts. But this," she gestured to Jason, "this is an opportunity. If we embrace change, we can see the beauty that emerges from it." A man in the back, longing for the safety of skepticism, shouted, "But what do you know about our town, about our lives?" Mia met his gaze, unwavering. "I know that every community is a tapestry woven of individual strands, each with its rich story. Why not allow yourselves to grow, just as Jason is trying to do?" Jason watched the tension rise and swell in the room. Hope flickered like the light over their heads, battling against the shadows of doubt still clinging to some. He felt rooted, fragile yet fierce at the same time. As the conversation swirled and more people chimed in, Jason sensed a turning point in the air, but the question lingered: could they truly embrace this change? Could they see beyond their fears and support him? Outside, the wind picked up force, carrying with it whispers of possibility. Jason's future teetered on the edge, bright yet uncertain. With a shared glance between him and Mia, one question echoed in his mind: would this be the moment that set everything in motion, or would doubt swallow him whole, just as before? The atmosphere in the diner crackled with an unusual energy. People leaned closer, captivated by Mia's confidence. Jason stood at the front, feeling exposed yet empowered. Each eye on him felt like a spark igniting a flame of inspiration or bringing on the dread of rejection. He searched their faces for signs of support, for those who might lean toward belief instead of criticism. "Simon, hometown," Jason said, his voice steady despite the mounting pressure. "Art is all around us. It's in our everyday lives, in this diner, in our stories." He gestured broadly, feeling the weight of the moment, breathing through the anxiety. "Every brushstroke holds a memory, a dream, a piece of us. If we keep our minds closed, we might miss the magic that lies just beneath surface." Mia smiled encouragingly, clearly in his corner. The murmurs of the patrons began to shift. He could see the skepticism softening, replaced by glimmers of curiosity. "All right, wow us then, kid!" shouted a boisterous woman from a corner booth, her laughter bubbling over the doubts that had filled the diner only moments ago. The laughter poured into the space like sunlight, and Jason held onto it as a lifeline. "Okay, let us do this," he replied, his adrenaline pumping. He moved toward his favorite painting, a vibrant landscape swirling with colors that mimicked the wildflowers outside. "This is a piece I call Spring Awakening. I painted it on one of those sunny afternoons, feeling all the possibility that spring brings. It's about new beginnings." As he spoke, his words painted the picture of a world alive with promise. He described the colors, how each one represented emotions: the bright yellows for hope, deep blues for calm, light greens for growth. There was silence, except for the soft clinking of mugs being set down, as patrons listened, many leaning forward. Mia nodded, drawing attention to the crowd's connection with Jason's passion. "See, art is universal. It speaks to our hearts, whether we believe it or not," she urged. "Isn't that right, folks?" Jason's heart raced as people exchanged looks, slowly nodding in agreement. Hope flickered more fiercely now, a small bonfire of change gradually igniting. "I used to think art was just for the big cities," a bespectacled man said from the back, his voice tentative. But maybe his words trailed off, uncertainty mixed with eagerness. Before Jason could respond, Mr. Rutherford stepped in again. "Exactly. We can choose to see things differently. It takes courage to embrace change, and Jason is giving us that chance today." His gaze swept over the crowd, a gentle demand for them to see the beauty in diversity and creativity. Warmth swelled in Jason's chest, bolstered by their growing appreciation. Art is about connection, Jason reiterated, locking eyes with Mr. Rutherford. Let us start this connection here, together. But what if we don't understand it? A voice piped up, laced with real concern. Jason knew that fear all too well, it wrapped around him like a lead weight. Then ask questions. Let us talk. Share stories. That's how we grow. He said, almost pleading, his vulnerability on display. Mia stepped closer to him, a reassuring presence. Art can bridge any gap. The more we share, the more we learn, and the closer we come together. There was a hum of agreement, and Jason could feel the tide shifting. Voices began to rise, questions and laughter mingling with hope. Maybe this was a new beginning, but there was still a long way to go. As conversations bubbled around him, Jason felt a weight lift. He smiled, but below the surface, a new unease bubbled. Apple blossoms drifted in the breeze outside, swirling through open doors, just like the fresh possibilities that now danced around him. What if this moment was just the start? As the sweet sense of spring wrapped around him, Jason considered, what lay ahead might be even more daunting and wonderful than he ever imagined. Would he have the courage to face it? Outside, just then, an unexpected visitor appeared on the street, a figure cloaked in mystery and curiosity. Who were they, and what role would they play in Jason's rapidly unfolding story? The door of the diner swung open with a creak, letting in a rush of cool air that contrasted with the warmth of the inside. The figure that stepped through had an air of confidence that immediately drew attention. Dressed in a tailored suit, with a striking smile that shone even brighter than the diner lights, he surveyed the room with a spark of interest. The chatter quieted, eyes drifting toward the new arrival, curiosity surging. Jason instinctively straightened up. Who was this man? He could feel the electric shift in the atmosphere, a wave of expectancy that rippled through the crowd. Was he someone important? He tried to shake the distraction off, but the curiosity around him began to bubble again. Mia nudged him gently. Do you know who that is? She whispered, tilting her head discreetly. Jason shook his head. He looks familiar, but I can't place him. The man walked toward the front, confidence in every step. As he approached, the initial admiration turned into quiet whispers. Was he a businessman? Maybe a patron wanting to invest in the diner? The possibilities hung in the air, and Jason's heart raced again, not from fear this time, but from a wild mixture of excitement and intrigue. Good evening, everyone. The man boomed, his voice rich and inviting. I couldn't help but overhear some very passionate discussions happening here. It's refreshing to see a community rallying around something as vital as art. His gaze landed on Jason, penetrating and thoughtful. And how perfect it is that we have a budding artist in our midst. The sound of surprise filled the room, and Jason felt the heat rush to his cheeks. Thank you, he stammered, feeling both thrilled and apprehensive under the man's piercing gaze. This was not just any visitor, it felt like they were tasting a dramatic twist in the story they didn't anticipate. I'm Ethan Wilder, the man introduced himself, extending a hand toward Jason. I've built my career in tech, but art has always had a way of calling me back. It's essential. It's exciting. And it's something more people need to experience. Jason shook his hand, an unexpected sense of connection sparking between them. I'm Jason. I was just talking about my art. He stumbled over his words, trying to gather his thoughts while butterflies danced in his stomach. Ethan's eyes glinted with amusement. I could tell. You have a passion for what you do. How do you feel about sharing your work beyond this lovely diner? What if more people could see it? What if he trailed off, placing his hand over his chin, deep in thought? Jason's heart raced. The idea of reaching more people scared yet thrilled him. His thoughts scattered as he hesitated to reply, the spotlight felt heavier than ever. Would he even have the chance? Mia nudged him again, urging him to take a leap of faith. You can do this, Jason. She whispered, her eyes shining with encouragement. Taking a deep breath, Jason addressed Ethan. Well, I've always dreamed of reaching out, but I didn't think anyone would care. A hint of vulnerability crept in. Ethan's expression softened, his rich laughter filling the space like music. Oh, my friend. You'd be surprised at the thirst people have for art that speaks to them, art that stirs something inside. We just need to find the right door to open. As the crowd began to murmur again, Jason felt a sense of urgency. What if he could really open that door? What if this encounter was the opportunity he never knew he needed? The atmosphere buzzed with latent energy, and as Ethan stepped closer, Jason felt the rush of something grand at his fingertips. Let's talk, Jason, he suggested, his tone conspiratorial. I think we might just create something extraordinary together. Jason felt dizzy, excitement and fear intertwining. What lay ahead? Would Ethan's vision become the breakthrough he had been dreaming of? Could this be the moment that changed everything? In that breathless pause, someone else in the back called out, their voice cutting through the potential. But what about the cost? What happens when art becomes a transaction? Jason felt his stomach drop. Would success mean losing the purity of his passion? What other questions hung in the air that needed to be answered? Jason's heart pounded in his chest as he turned to face the speaker, a middle-aged woman with thinning hair and deep lines etched into her forehead. Her voice rang with both skepticism and concern. The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. He sensed the storm brewing, waves of doubt crashing against the shore of his hope. What do you mean by that? Ethan's confident demeanor cracked just a bit, an eyebrow raised. Art doesn't have to be a commodity unless you let it become one. It can be a bridge, a gift. It can connect people. But at what cost? The woman countered, defiance in her voice. How do we know it will stay genuine? How do we trust that the beauty won't be turned into something cold, just to fill someone else's pockets? The murmur of agreement rippled around the diner, and Jason felt like a fish caught in a net, swirling in the waves of reluctance. He glanced at Mia, whose face reflected her own blend of support and worry. Could he really stand up to this? Was Ethan right? Or were they stepping into a dark void instead of the light Jason envisioned? Taking a step forward, Jason surprised himself. I think it can be both, he said, his voice steadier than he felt. If I can share my art and connect with more people, that doesn't mean it has to lose its meaning, does it? If it excites someone, makes them feel something real, isn't that worth something too? Ethan smiled. Exactly, he said, nodding encouragingly. Art has its own economy of value. You don't lose your passion just because you share it with others. The room buzzed with whispers again, some intrigued, others still unsure. Jason took a deep breath, channeling the chaos of feelings inside him into a voice of conviction. Art has been my escape, my voice. If I can elevate it, share it, maybe it can do something for others too. Maybe they'll see something in it that resonates, that inspires. The skepticism in the woman's eyes began to fade, replaced with a glimmer of understanding. And what if it doesn't? She pressed gently. What if it doesn't connect? What if it's just business? Jason's stomach churned again, but a flicker of hope pushed through the doubt. Then at least I'll know I tried. I can live with that. But if I don't try, that's worse. There was a moment of silence, everyone weighing his words. Then Ethan stepped closer again, a friendly fire igniting in his gaze. Let's create something meaningful, something that reflects your heart. All it takes is a step. And if the risk feels too great, we'll take it together, shoulder to shoulder. The crowd softened, some nodding now, the atmosphere shifting once more. Jason felt a new wave of understanding flowing through him. Perhaps they didn't need to choose between passion and transaction. What's the first step? Mia asked, her enthusiasm lifting the moment. First step. We start brainstorming, Ethan said, his smile infectious. What does it mean to you, Jason? What stories are you trying to tell? As Jason began to articulate his thoughts about his art, his dreams entwined with every stroke, he felt eyes on him, genuinely focused. This felt different. This felt like a beginning, a door creaking wide open with potential. A conversation unfolded, rich with discordant thoughts and bright ideas. Time slipped by as Jason poured his heart out, finding clarity in the process, while the once skeptical woman leaned in, intrigued now, but just as the air thickened with creativity, a shadow fell across the diner entrance. A tall figure appeared in the doorway, lips pressed into a thin line. The energy shifted again, and Jason's stomach dropped, as if a chill had swept through the warm space. He recognized the newcomer. Their eyes met, heavy with unspoken history. "Jason," the voice cut through the air like a knife. "We need to talk. Now." His heart sank. What did this mean? Would it disrupt everything he was building? What storm was about to break? Jason's mind raced as he stared at the tall figure blocking the entrance. It was David, his estranged father, the man who had walked away years ago, leaving chaos in his wake. Memories spilled over Jason's consciousness: loud arguments, the sound of a slamming door, the empty space at family gatherings. He felt the room fall away, the murmurs muffled beneath the weight of the confrontation. Ethan's expression shifted from enthusiasm to concern, sensing the tension that crackled in the air. "Do you want to handle this?" he whispered. Mia's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and worry flashing across her face. "No," Jason muttered, fighting to keep his voice steady. I need to face this." He took a step toward David, who stood unmoving, an impenetrable wall of uncertainty. "What do you want?" David's brow furrowed, annoyance flashing in his eyes as he stood in a place where decisions were made. "I want to talk about what you're doing. This whole art thing, it's a waste of time. You shouldn't be throwing your life away on something childish." The words hit Jason like a punch to the gut. In that moment, a fire ignited inside him, born from all the hurt, all the years of feeling like he was never good enough. "Childish? You know what's childish?" He shot back, anger vibrating in his voice. "Running away from your own family and throwing money at your problems. I found something that gives my life meaning." Around them, the murmurs swelled again, some patrons stealing glances, others pretending to ignore the unfolding drama. But Jason didn't care. All he felt was the rush of standing his ground, and it was exhilarating. "Meaning?" David scoffed, crossing his arms. "You think a few paintings can make a difference? You think people care about your scribbles on canvas? You were meant for bigger things. I've already set everything up for you, connections that actually matter. Why waste your time here?" With each word, Jason felt the resolve inside him solidify. "Because it's my life. Not yours. I don't want your connections, or your money. I want to create." The diner grew silent, everyone watching the confrontation unfold. Mia clasped her hands, urging Jason with her eyes to keep going. Even Ethan stood behind him, strength emanating from his supportive posture. David's eyes flared with frustration, but Jason saw a flicker of something deeper, a hint of vulnerability. "You think you can do this alone? You want to make it without me?" Jason shook his head, aware of the burden of expectation resting heavy on his shoulders. "I don't need you, Dad. I need to stay true to myself." Finally, the tension in David's stance wavered. He opened his mouth, perhaps to retort, when a solitary clap broke through the silence. One by one, the other patrons began to applaud softly, then with urgency, a wave of support washing over Jason like a refreshing tide. He blushed, but also felt buoyed. What was happening? Their support infused his courage, sparking connections he never knew he could foster. "I don't care if you think it's childish," Jason pressed on, heart racing. "Art has power, whether you see it or not." He turned toward his small crowd, the flicker of hope blooming in their faces. "It's about connection, sharing emotions. I won't just let you dismiss that." David's face darkened with anger as he opened his mouth for a comeback, but Jason kept talking on an upward rise, his pulse quickening. "Don't you see? I'm finally learning who I am. I'm finally doing something that matters to me. Jason David gritted his teeth, a storm brewing behind his carefully composed facade, but Jason had their attention now. And that, to me, is everything. The claps folded into cheers, filling the diner with an electric buzz. Ethan stepped beside Jason, the energy between them palpable, lighting a fire. Yet, just as excitement blossomed, Jason noticed David's expression shift, a clash of emotions crossing his face. Okay, I might have underestimated you, David began slowly, his tone changing. But we need to talk about your future. And I still think you need know, Jason interrupted, heart hammering as he eclipsed the cacophony of his father's impairing words. I'll carve my path. With those words, the atmosphere thickened with a new weight, one of possibility and defiance. The future felt open now, and yet he still sensed that this encounter was only the beginning. David's gaze narrowed, a mix of disbelief and intrigue present in his stance. You really think you can do this without me? That's cute. I'll give you one chance to prove it. Jason froze. What did that mean? Was this what he had wished for, a chance, or a hidden trap? More fear knotted in his chest, but courage bloomed alongside it. Fine, Jason replied slowly, voice steady. I'll show you what I can do. But just know I will never be your puppet. David smirked, a glimmer of challenge in his eyes. Let us see how strong that resolve truly is. As he started to walk away, Jason's pulse quickened, both excitement and anxiety swirling within him. What was he getting himself into? He turned to the others, feeling the weight of their supportive stares. Group brainstorming on nameless art starts now, Ethan called out, rallying the crowd to refocus on Jason, but in the depths of his heart, Jason couldn't shake the thought of how this challenge might pull him closer to his dreams or unravel them entirely. Would he find the courage to truly step into the artist he wanted to be, or would the skepticism of his past smother him? It was a leap into the unknown, and all he could think was, did he have what it takes to trust himself? The clapping faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. Jason stood at the center of it all, the weight of everyone's eyes pressing against him like an invisible blanket. Heart still racing, he turned back to find Mia and Ethan looking at him, a mixture of pride and worry painted across their faces. The moment felt intense, surreal, and a touch terrifying. Did you just say that? Ethan's voice was low, tinged with excitement. You really stood up to him. That was amazing. Thanks, Jason replied, trying to catch his breath. But his mind couldn't settle. A wave of uncertainty rolled in, crashing against the thrill of bravado he had just felt. Was that enough? Had he done the right thing? Mia stepped forward, her hand lingering on his arm. You showed him who you are. That's huge. But are you sure about this? About the whole proving yourself thing? I am, he asserted quickly, but inside, doubt nibbled at his resolve. I just need to think it through. You'll figure it out. Ethan nodded. But let us chat later. Focus on what's in front of you now. He gestured towards the small coffee shop's windows. As dusk began painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Jason turned to look outside, drawing in a deep breath. The world beyond the glass felt vibrant, full of life and promise. But his father's challenge loomed like a thundercloud in his mind. Right. He forced a smile. Brainstorming, right? With the rest of the diner buzzing, he motioned for them to pull tables together and find a spot in the back. As they gathered, Jason felt a surge of determination wash over him like a tide lifting a boat. It was time to harness that energy, to channel it into what mattered most, his art. We need to start with a theme, Mia said, as they took their seats. Something that speaks to people. Connection, Jason said, feeling the instinct kick in. Because that's what I want to create. I want to show the struggle, the beauty of life, even the messiness of it all. I want people to feel something. Ethan perked up. What about a series of pieces titled Fragments? Each one could represent a different experience or emotion. We can incorporate real stories from people in the community. That's brilliant. Jason exclaimed, excitement alight in his spirit. Real stories can add depth. It's not just paint on canvas, it's a mosaic of real life. As ideas started to flow, Jason's fears faded to the background. He saw the vision forming, the sketches dancing in his mind. This was what he was meant to do. They bounced ideas off each other, laughter mingling with fervent discussion. Inspiration felt contagious, igniting every corner of the room, but just when he felt liberated, the door to the diner swung open, and in walked a familiar figure, a woman in polished attire, her presence commanding. It was Chloe, an art gallery owner he had admired from afar, known for showcasing emerging artists. "Is that Jason Moreau?" she called, her tone confident. The chatter subsided as all eyes fixed on her. "And me?" Jason stammered, heat rising in his cheeks. "Couldn't he help but notice the energy in here," Chloe continued, eyes sparkling. "Word travels fast. They say you're making waves. Can I have a word?" His heart slammed against his rib cage. Could this be what he was waiting for? Right here, right now. He glanced at Mia and Ethan, their expressions a mix of encouragement and shock. "Sure," Jason managed, rising to his feet, only to find David watching from the window outside, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Anxiety twisted in Jason's stomach. As he stepped forward, he sensed the weight of a very different challenge ahead. Would he be able to seize this moment, or would he let his father's shadow hold him back? "Let us step outside," Chloe suggested, and without another thought, Jason followed. The air felt electric around him, possibilities crackling like static. Now, faced with someone who could change everything, Jason wondered, was he ready? Would his moment of truth finally arrive, pushing him toward the dreams he longed to grasp, or was he just stepping into another trap? The moment Jason stepped outside, the chill of the evening air mingled with adrenaline coursing through his veins. Chloe stood confidently, hands tucked into her tailored coat pockets, her smile bright against the graying sky. For a fleeting second, he felt like he was in a movie. Everything was heightened, vibrant, alive. "Tell me about your art," she said, tilting her head slightly. There was genuine interest in her eyes, and that flicker of hope sparked something deep within him. I've been working on a project," he started, the words stumbling out of his mouth. "It's called Fragments. It's about connection, real stories from the community." "What kind of stories?" Chloe's tone was curious, and she stepped closer, as if trying to pull the truth right from him. "They're personal. Experiences that can resonate with people's struggles, triumphs, the messy bits of life. I want to create a visual mosaic that speaks to everyone." The more he explained, the more his confidence grew. "Sounds compelling. Art has a way of making people feel less alone," she said, and it felt as if she was directly plucking the chords of his heart. "How do you plan to showcase it?" "I want to create a series of pieces. Maybe even a gallery show. I can collaborate with local artists and share what we all go through together." His voice trailed off as he realized he was almost dreaming aloud, the vision unfolding without the weight of self-doubt. Chloe looked thoughtful, her gaze drifting toward the bustling street, filled with life. "You mentioned community stories. Do you have any in mind?" Jason swallowed hard, suddenly aware of his surroundings. He thought of Mia's recent struggle with her family, Ethan's battle against bullying. "Yeah. My friends, they've all gone through things. I could draw from their experiences." "Is that where your art comes from? Personal experiences?" He hesitated for a moment, feeling exposed under her steady gaze. "Somewhat. But mostly. It's about trying to find my way through all the noise in my own life." Chloe nodded, and a moment of silence hung between them, charged. Jason could see her processing his words, and for once, he felt seen. "Jason, I appreciate your honesty. Your voice is your power, and if you channel that into your work, it could be something special." She paused. "What has been holding you back?" His breath caught in his throat. The question sent ripples of fear and shame spiraling through him. He thought of David standing outside the diner, arms crossed, judging. It's my dad. He has a very specific idea of what success looks like. I've always felt like I've had to prove myself to him. Family can be a lot to navigate, Chloe said softly, her expression shifting to empathy. But you're not alone in that struggle. Gazing into her eyes, Jason felt the weight of possibility settle over him. But how do I break free from that? I believe you can. Start with your art. You've already shown courage tonight, keep building on that. You have a unique perspective that deserves to be shared. Before he could respond, the sound of laughter erupted from the diner. Jason turned to see Mia and Ethan, their faces beaming with joy, while the laughter of others seemed to swirl in like music. The sense of belonging tugged at his heart. Chloe, I really want to, he began, unsure how to articulate the hope blossoming within him. I want to show my work, but I'm terrified. Terrified is okay. It means you're stepping out. Take that fear, and turn it into your art. Channel it. He nodded slowly, a sense of relief washing over him. This conversation felt like a small lantern in a darkened room. Maybe he was on the right path. As he turned back to face her, he caught a glimpse of David lingering just beyond the crowd, his expression stern and unyielding. In that instant, the questions flooded back. Would he dare to continue pursuing his dreams in the face of opposition? Was it worth the risk? Can I keep in touch? Jason stammered, suddenly feeling a mix of hope and vulnerability. Absolutely, Chloe smiled, scribbling her contact information on a napkin before handing it to him. And remember, your voice is more powerful than you realize. Jason took a deep breath, gratitude swelling in his chest. As he stepped away from Chloe, a mix of exhilaration and fear churned inside him. Facing David wouldn't be easy. But perhaps this was the beginning of something big. Stepping into his own skin, he re-entered the diner, ready to face whatever awaited there, and suddenly, the idea of pushing through even the hardest moments didn't feel insurmountable. It felt like freedom. But as he approached Mia and Ethan, laughter momentarily dissolved into whispers, and all eyes turned his way once more. Just then, the door swung open again, and Jason's breath hitched as he recognized a figure he hadn't expected: his father, standing with an expression that sent a chill down his spine. What would he say now? Did he really want to know? As Jason walked back into the diner, the cheerful buzz instantly faded into a tense silence. His heart raced, he could feel a heavy weight like a storm cloud gathering as he caught sight of David's stern face framed in the dim light of the diner. The room held its breath. "Dad," Jason said, trying to keep his voice steady, even as uncertainty crept in. The warmth of encouragement from Mia and Ethan felt like a flickering candle in a windstorm. Without invitation, David strode forward, eyes narrowing. "Do you really think you can make something of yourself here? Is this where you want to waste your potential?" His voice cut through the air, filled with disdain. Jason's spirit flared, and the fire that had blossomed from his earlier confrontation ignited again. "This isn't a waste. This is my voice. I won't let you dismiss it. Art is important to me, it connects us all." People in the diner leaned closer, grateful for the brewing determination in Jason's heart. Their supportive murmurs returned, a surge of appreciation flowing toward him. David's expression faltered for just a moment, but he shook it off. "You think a few colorful scribbles are going to define your future? I can give you everything you need to be successful. Just listen to me, Jason." "No, Dad." Jason stepped forward, refusing to be overshadowed. The weight of the past pressed against him, but he didn't waver. "I am not asking for connections or your idea of success. I want to carve my own path. I want to make my own mistakes and triumphs. I can't keep chasing your dreams. I need to live my own." A murmur of approval spread through the diner, eyes now sparkling with a shared understanding and respect. David's voice softened, annoyance replaced by a flicker of concern. This is a terrible decision. You're getting wrapped up in something." He paused, visibly frustrated. "In something you don't even understand." "I understand more than you think," Jason retorted, his resolve strengthening with every word. "Every color, every brushstroke speaks to me. It's struggle, hope, love, it's about our stories." He gestured towards the diner's walls, where those colors glimmered with moments captured in time. "We're all more than just our circumstances. I want to show the world the beauty in our community." Silence hung in the balance, and for a moment, Jason dared to hold David's gaze, hoping for a glimpse of understanding. The diner felt alive with anticipation. Could David finally see him for who he was? At the edge of the room, Mia stepped forward, her presence vibrant. "Art holds a mirror to us. It reflects our lives, our struggles. It's powerful, David." Ethan echoed, "Exactly. Jason is using his art to connect and inspire others, something that has the potential to impact not just him, but all of us." A tension crackled in the air. David's hardened facade wavered, revealing a vulnerability that Jason had never seen. The regret lingered in his eyes like thick fog. "Maybe I was too harsh." David's voice faltered, a hint of unbearable weight clawing at him. "I just wanted what I thought was best for you." Jason's heart warmed, a small ember of hope igniting fiercely. "I appreciate that, Dad, but I have to fight this battle my own way. I need to discover who I am outside of your expectations." "Then prove it," David challenged cautiously, his tone mismatched with his earlier judgment. "Show me what you can do, without my help." The crowd murmured in agreement, support spiraling through the diner stronger than ever before. Jason held his breath. He could feel the shift in the air, like the first rays of dawn breaking. "Fine," Jason replied, voice steady with newfound confidence. "You'll see. I'll prove this isn't a waste of time. This is my life." For the first time, Jason felt a lightness in his chest. He was ready to embrace both the weight of his past and the prospects of the present. The excitement of possibilities surged, pounding through him as he grasped the opportunity at hand. "Thank you all." He turned back to his friends, a glow of determination bubbling in his heart. "Together, we can build something real. Something beautiful. Let us tell those stories." Applause erupted, filling the room with energy, laughter, and warmth. Jason's spirit soared as the sense of belonging enveloped him, igniting a spark that lit up the darkest corners of his mind. Through the sea of eyes, he caught David's gaze once more. Gone was the shadow of the man he feared, in its place flickered a glint of respect. With an exhilarating rush, Jason stepped towards the future ahead, fully aware of the risks and rewards intertwined with dreams. He was ready to embrace his art and himself, every messy, beautiful piece of it. This was just the beginning. Now, it's your turn to step into your own journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support creativity. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Was Jason's journey relatable to you? And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the power of these actions to grow our community together.